Flash, but one gank from Evelyn with the huge amount of damage from Victor could easily force both those summoners out from him very early on. So I feel like Chris's decision making and where he should be applying pressure was a bit, I'm a bit skeptical about it. So maybe this game they'll take, we do see the Nidalee ban come out, so they will be taking him off that, and hopefully we can see him applying a bit more ore with the Elise. So this will be the third Elise, I think, coming out. Last week we saw it twice, to great success, I do believe. Generally, the Rune Glaive build was the preferred option of last week, but we did hear from Nutri that there were other options available, like the Cinder Hulk, definitely a strong alternative depending on the team comp. So
I think it really depends on whether you want to go for that early game pressure or whether you want to be an unstoppable force in the late game, whether you want to be that massive, hard to deal with tank that can either peel or it can go and attack your backline. So kind of dependent on you as a jungler as well, what your kind of play style is. So.
Yeah, definitely. Just to do another quick run through the brands, we do see from the side of Emotion a Kalista, a Rek'Sai, and an Aurelia ban. So the only same ban from that last game is the Aurelia, which means that this game they decided to take away the Kalista. So maybe they know something that we don't, because we didn't see it picked up last game, but I wonder why they're so scared of it this game. Regardless, we also see the Rek'Sai ban, but it does give away the Elise that we mentioned earlier. So definitely a strong pick in the current meta. Definitely with the Rune Glaive, high damage in that early game. Definitely a threatening force. And just want to mention the little Teemo hover. Keys was very well known for his Teemo.
This is the first Teemo hover that you're going to see that may actually not be trolling. That could genuinely be locked in.
Having chatted, wait, he did lock it in.
Yes, we're going to see Keys Teemo now. Keys gets Teemo banned against him a lot. Like, I don't know if you guys have watched Keys in a tournament before, but a lot of times when I've cast Keys, he has had that Teemo target banned against him. He's very good on that champion.
He trolled me because a while back, I had a conversation with Keys saying, are you planning on playing what? I looked through his match history and he was playing real top laners. So I'm like, hey, that's not like you.
But when was that?
Yeah,
because the new Nash's Tooth is out.
It wasn't. Yeah, this was during the IP item changes, and I was like, why don't you play Teemo? Surely with all the new AP items, the Andrew's got a massive buff. You've got the new Nash's Tooth, you've got Rylai's, which has got all these great items for AP Teemo. And he's like, oh no, I hate AP Teemo. I like full attack speed Teemo, and in the current meta, that's like really bad. And I was like, oh, so we're not going to see Teemo anymore. And he was like, no, I will not be playing Teemo anymore.
I will never play Teemo
and here we go. So clearly he was just throwing me off.
And no Sivir locked in. I'm kind of baffled that the critical didn't go for Sivir there. Look at that composition. Leona, Gnar, and Elise with a Sivir ultimate. You can just guarantee that engage.
Yeah, but I think what they're doing is last game they were like, oh, we don't have enough C and burst to kill the janitress Janna Corki. I'm like, okay, then let's get some CC and burst in the bottom lane. Definitely with this time, if Chris comes into the bottom lane, you've got the hard engage from Leona, you've got the really strong follow-up from Graves, and while he's not a massively contested and popular pick, he does very well against Vayne because, Vayne does scale very well, but as we've mentioned several times last week, she does have a rough early game, so...
especially against Graves.
So just... something I want to mention, we've got so many interesting picks this game. We've got LeBlanc coming out. We've got a LeBlanc and Syndra. So I mean, we will discuss that matchup a bit more specifically later on. But very old picks. We have with the nerfs.
It's like a season 3. I feel like I'm looking at a season 3. I mean, Elise and Lee for a long time in season 3 were the kind of top 2 jungle picks along with Jarvan. So like. And this was when Gnar was like just becoming popular, or it might be a little bit before Gnar, to be honest. I'm not 100% sure when Gnar came out, but across the board though, I mean, Graves versus Vayne, Leona versus Thresh was like the 2 support picks for a long time, and then Syndra and LeBlanc again. Just Syndra for a long time was the pick in the mid lane. It was like picked up on every single game.
I hate that champion.
Well, I made AD carry at the time, but I despise Syndra as well as LeBlanc. So.
Like, for those that might not be familiar, Syndra is basically, I believe, or back in the day, she might still have it, but her, if she manages to get 6 balls out, right, her ultimate, I believe, does the highest amount of base damage in the game.
Yeah.
So it literally, you can just, as long as you have 6 of her spheres out, dark spheres, those, and she just presses R, when all 6 of those hit, I believe the base is something like 1200 damage, and that's not including the like extra ability power on top of that. So
and it scales incredibly well.
And it scales incredibly well. So and it's so easy to well, I say it's easy to land. Her stun.
Well, it is a point and click.
Yeah,
it's pretty hard to miss, really.
But the AoE stun that she used to have was ridiculous. One amazing combo that I used to see Faker do fairly regularly was he would throw the sphere out, ultimate, so he'd get 4 balls down, and then he would flash and throw out his E, and he would just stun the entire team because whatever ball collides with the enemy unit will stun them up. So. But, I mean, that's the old current Syndra is what I want to talk about, because her Q got nerfed, which basically to a lot of mid laners said, no, that's it, she's dead. Because what made her so strong was her early laning. The amount of pressure and aggression that she could apply during that laning phase was so strong, and that's why I hated her, because she was just so hard to trade against. But that got nerfed. It basically got cut in half, her early laning, which basically made, for other laners, it made it a lot easier to tolerate her poke. But with the current Syndra, I keep forgetting her name. Syndra. See, the current poke isn't quite as strong, so that's why she fell out of favor. But I know Power of Evil still plays her from time to time.
Yeah,
she's definitely one of.
She's still occasionally seen.
Yeah, you do see it. Not very much in competitive, purely for those reasons. Like she is very single target based, and in the current mage meta, where you see a lot of like Victor, like Azir, you do have that AOE.
Yeah.
Rather than the single target. So
I think a lot of it as well is it's the kind of point and click. It's halfway between a mage and an assassin, right?
Definitely.
Obviously, you are kind of a mage, but you're a lot shorter range than most mages, and then you have that massive burst. But if you're going for massive burst, why not just pick LeBlanc?
Yeah, exactly.
It's
but then LeBlanc again. I mean, they're both champs. That they aren't weak, right?
No.
But they're not the best, if that makes sense. So, like the whole idea of metas is that you play the strongest available mid laners, and while these 2 mid laners are definitely viable, can definitely work, they're just not the optimal mid laners, is the word I'd like to use.
In theory, but maybe we're about to see the new meta come in. We'll have to see. I mean, I haven't seen Syndra since the new AP item, so maybe there's something we don't know about.
Maybe
Recycle is one step ahead of the crowd. We're going to be heading onto the Rift in just 5 seconds into the loading screen at least, in just 5 seconds, and I am very excited for this game. Some really, really cool picks coming out. Lee versus Elise in the jungle, Syndra versus LeBlanc in the mid lane, we've got Graves, Leona, Teemo up in the top lane. I mean, a lot of the time, I'm not a big fan of champion select, because you're kind of just talking about the same champions over and over again, but I mean, this game is good. I honestly don't know which way this game is going to go. And I mean, Yordle versus Yordle in the top lane as well. So for all of everyone that loves cute stuff, that you can just watch the top lane. Good job, guys. Good picks. But we are going to see some crazy. I can't wait to see Keys on this Teemo. I want to see how well he uses these mushrooms and how well he can use the global taunt that Teemo has, where obviously he is a bit of a hated champion. Let's see if Critical are going to be baited by that, or whether they're going to be wise to that strategy. Well, I call it a strategy. It's not really I don't know, but we are going to see everyone getting onto the Rift. And on the blue side, we are going to see Critical Esports up in the top lane. On that Gentleman Gnar, we're going to have Sorloy. In the jungle, we're going to have Chris Senpai playing Elise. In the mid lane, we are going to have Fatal playing the LeBlanc. That's a really cool skin as well. I think it's called like Raven something.
Yeah, limited edition too.
Is it? I didn't even know that. There you go. Fun fact of the day.
That is just fun fact.
Yeah. In the bottom lane, we're going to have Pasha playing Graves and Salty Yummy playing the Leona.
Yeah, meanwhile, on the other side, we do have Gaming in Motion. In the top lane, they have Keys on Teemo. In the jungle, we have Scudsy playing Lee Sin. In the mid lane, we have Recycle on Syndra. And in the bottom lane, we have Wing and Pez playing Vayne and Thresh. So, definitely an exciting game. Hopefully it's not as quick as the last game, but I do feel that with the style of composition that they're running, they feel quite confident. They're riding off of their quick and confident win that they had in their last game, and this game they decided, right, we're just going to pick comfort picks. We're going to pick champions that we're really comfortable on. They're not really aiming for any like specific composition, because you can see they've got quite a mix of champions in their like lineup. They do have kind of like a split push pick sort of duelist kind of comp. I feel like the skirmishes is the best thing for them to do. Meanwhile, we do kind of have a team fight sort of pick comp on the side of Critical Esports. They do have, like, Elise definitely works fairly well in team fights, and if LeBlanc can play the team fights well, she could easily get a pick off onto Syndra. So we will have to see how the whole compositions play out. Meanwhile, it does look like fairly standard starts for both teams.
Yeah, interestingly as well, because I mean, Vayne Thresh versus Leona Graves, in my mind, goes pretty heavily in favor of Leona Graves.
Definitely.
Is there any reason that they don't opt to go for a lane swap here?
It does. Well, my only assumption for that is reason number one is that they're confident. They feel like they can win the matchup because they feel like they're better players. So they feel like even though the matchup might not be in their favor, perhaps maybe they disrespect Critical a little bit. Maybe they don't feel maybe they just feel that they can win that matchup regardless of the particular champions that are being played. The alternative is that Keys in the top lane is playing Teemo, and I don't feel that Teemo would work as well as a Gnar would in a lane swap. So that could be the alternative reason for them deciding not to lane swap. But we did see the rush level 2 onto Graves. A little bit surprising because you really do want the Leona to be the level 2, really, because that's the only way you're going to get that hard engage on the bottom lane. But they do decide for a fairly passive early game in the bottom lane.
Yeah, unsurprisingly from InMotion for sure. I mean, with Vayne, as we keep on harping on about, you are going to have a pretty weak early game, especially versus a champion like Graves, who's just so powerful in lane. And you can see Pasha already bullying away in this bottom lane, trying to force the enemy AD carry away, but Scudzy is going to be able to dodge away from that cocoon, so just a little bit of damage traded back and forth, but nobody going to follow through on that one.
Yeah, both junglers very good at early aggression there. Both have a lot of decent base stats, which enable them to trade and fight and skirmish very well in the early game. So not that surprising that Scudzy this time decides not to be as aggressive onto Chris. He does recognize that Elise is not a weak jungler, and he shows the respect that he should towards the champion.
Absolutely. I mean, do you feel, which one of those junglers do you feel has the advantage in the early game? As you say, they are both incredibly strong in the early game. If they do end up dueling, does that go in the way of Lee Sin, or does that go towards Elise?
I would actually say that's a very skill matchup. Meanwhile, in the mid.
Oh, up in the mid lane, we do see Recycle getting caught out. A nice scatter of the weak, but it's not going to be enough as Fratal distorts forward for the first blood of the game. And if you're playing for InMotion right now, seeing the first blood on the enemy LeBlanc is not your favorite thing.
Lands on the bot.
Asher gets caught up by that death sentence. The Ignite already going to be used, and this could be the Vayne starting to snowball as Pasha gets the heal off. Is he going to live? No, the flash comes out from Wing, and that is going to be 1-for-1 trade. AD carry kill for mid lane kill.
Yeah, so while we were talking about, like, in the early game, who, in terms of the 1v1, who would be stronger, I was going to say Elise, but the reason I would say Elise is stronger is because of the crowd control that she applies in the early game thanks to the cocoon, and we saw that in the middle lane. The moment that cocoon lands, it becomes so easy to pick up a kill, and that's where the first blood comes from onto LeBlanc, which is going to be great. But meanwhile, I say that in the top lane.
Yeah, Key's going to be able to dodge away from that cocoon, though, so Chris can't quite get that engage off that he was looking for, and you see Fratal pushing this out in the middle lane. He has been back. He's got his Fiendish Codex, so a good amount of damage going to be coming out from that LeBlanc. But take a look at the farm. Despite the kill, Recycle is on 27-19, now 28-19. And looking at the gold, he's only 200 gold behind, despite that first blood going towards Fratal.
Yeah, well, while I was saying Syndra's early aggression, really nice knockback from Recycle there. But while Syndra's early game aggression is a lot weaker than it used to be, it's still decent. You can still poke out very heavily, and as long as Recycle plays the matchup very well, he can definitely apply that pressure and force Fratal to be scared during the lane. Dude, see, yummy.
Zenith just misses.
Yeah, the width on that did get nerfed quite a while ago, which was unfortunate because Leona was my favorite support.
I really feel like that was a bizarre nerf at the time. I was kind of like, I mean, Leona was played basically every game. Something needed to be done to make her kind of back in line, but Pez is going to be caught up by the cocoon as well. He's going to be going down straight away. And that is going to be another kill in favor of Critical Esports, and that early kill onto the Elise as well definitely could be a big deal for them.
So we can already see Chris definitely likes putting pressure in the bottom lane. He really likes to apply the pressure where to help that bottom lane get ahead. And this game, meanwhile in the middle lane,
yep, Chris is arriving, but the chain does not land. Right, the cocoon does though. There's the ignite. Can they finish this one off? The scatter the weak. It's not going to be enough. It's the ignite. Oh! No, Reesicle lives on 10 HP, and he's going to be able to head back to base comfortably. And a little bit lucky on the escape there, not going to lie.
Biscuit of life.
Not quite finishing him off, but he's going to be more than happy with that one.
Yeah, the biscuit of life keeping him alive. But Chris having a way better game this game, definitely with the better team comp. With the crowd control coming out from Evelyn, it becomes a lot easier for him to gank. And this is exactly what you said during the pre-game chat. We felt that if Chris had something with a bit more crowd control, if he could definitely, use the utility available from a jungler, then he could have applied better pressure in that last game. And we can see now with a champion that has that more utility just in the form of a cocoon, he's already getting way more pressure off and more successful pressure off than he did in the last game. So that much better performance from Chris. Definitely a lot more relaxed and more confident on this champion than we saw last game on the Evelyn.
Yeah, now last game we saw In Motion go for a very early dragon. They just found the opportunity and picked that objective up basically for free. Let's see if they go for anything again in this game. I thought they were sort of all around that area, but deciding not to go for it just yet. So waiting for a little bit of a better opportunity, but it's certainly something that could be on the cards for them.
Yeah, definitely, especially with the amount of vision that they've got. You can see that very deep wards very early on into the game. They have full vision over the bottom half of the jungle, so they know that Elise is in the top half, and that definitely leaves the dragon open. Meanwhile, Hook does land on the bottom.
Does indeed, but Leona is not the target that you want to be engaging the fight onto.
She has hit 6.
Seems very tense in this mid lane. Both junglers hanging around here. Everybody basically just waiting for their opponent to just step a tiniest little bit out of position and just gonna go straight for that engage immediately. Reesicle is gonna be able to get the pressure down. A nice ethereal chains is gonna come through, but the stun comes out and relatively even trade, except for Reesicle taking another Q. Does get taken down to just under half HP. He's certainly in kill range for Fractal right now. Just needs to wait for that.
One in the bot.
Come up off cooldown, but Pasha could be in trouble. That's going to be the solar flag coming through. The ignite is ticking away. Is he going to live this one? It is going to be not enough damage as Pasha is going to live in the meantime. Lee Sin came into that mid lane and picked himself up a kill. So Reesicle with the nice bait obviously was in kill range, but Fractal did not have his ultimate available.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate that Pasha didn't have his ultimate available, because if he was level 6, perhaps he definitely could have picked up a return kill in that bottom lane. But meanwhile, while all that was going on, while I said that Elise can definitely apply early pressure, meanwhile in the jungle.
Oh, in the jungle we do see Chris getting caught out, and he's going to be going down. Scudzy actually flashed for that one. I feel that was maybe a little bit overkill. He probably could have finished that one off, but yeah, just going for the swag and picking up the enemy red buff. So 3 buffs on that Lee Sin right now, 2 reds and a blue. And they're going to be more than happy with that easy pickup in the jungle. And that's going to extend their gold lead to 1,000 right now. And I really feel like they could have just gone for Dragon right there. I feel like that was a missed opportunity for them.
Well, it was definitely an opportunity available, but they do decide not to go for it. Oh, he needs to be careful in the mid lane.
Yeah, Reesicle is going to get caught by the ethereal chains. Can he get the stun, though? Because Fractal is in a lot of trouble right now. Scudzy goes for the wrong one, though. He's going to pick up the nice bit of 25 gold. The distortion pad has faded, though, and the stun is going to land. Reesicle should be able to finish this one off. One more Q is going to pick up the kill. And that is Reesicle with his first kill of the game, finally.
So, Critical Esports, while they did have a very good early game, they're basically falling behind on their vision control. The fact that Scudzy could pick up that kill in the enemy jungle was because of how well the enemy jungle was warded. And you can see now with his superior vision control, he's just walking around in the enemy jungler. Like, I'm surprised he doesn't have that poacher's knife, because he's living more in the enemy jungle than he does in his own jungle. And this is exactly the same as we saw last game. The moment he gets a slight lead and he knows where his enemy jungler is, he just takes full control. He's smited the wolf, and there's just consistent jungle. It's constantly denying Chris the vision that he needs. So really impressive performance once again from Scudzy.
And you can see that in the CS numbers as well. Pez is going for the hook, though, but that flash comes out from Pasha at the very last second there. He's going to be able to get away with that one as Chris trying to get rid of this pink ward. Does get caught by the stun, but definitely not something that Reesicle wants to follow too far for. Does not want to blow any summoners for that.
Nope, decides against that. Their pink ward is going to get cleared out from the side of Critical Esports, so they're going to lose some vision. And now, Venice's pro tip of the day is don't put a pink ward down unless you can defend it, because it is an expensive ward and it is permanent. So only ever really put one down if you're in a position where you can hold it, because if you can't hold it, then you're not, you don't need that vision in the first place, because if you're shoved under your tower, like warding that tri-brush necessarily might not help you as much as warding the bush behind you to see of the event of a dive. So only put your pink ward down if you're able to defend it. So that is my pro tip for the day.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Giving out these free tips. It's the best stream going. We are going to see Wing just CSing away down in this bottom lane, and surprisingly 20 CS up against Pasha right now. Actually in the jungle, this could be Scudzy in a little bit of trouble. He's 2-0-2 right now, and actually he's not even afraid of the enemy LeBlanc. And
so strong.
You know it's not going great for you when the enemy Lee Sin can just walk up to your assassin in the mid lane and just kick him in the face like, I'm not scared.
Oh, yeah, he does get spotted out by a ward in the tri-brush, but doesn't look like... Oh, are they heading for a dive?
Up in the top lane, Sorloy is going to be trying to bait in Keys, who's going to be able to narrowly dodge that cocoon, pulling people over his mushrooms, flashes into the bush. Is he going to be able to get away with this one? His flash is now on cooldown, has a decent amount of damage, and Chris isn't very tanky. Can he turn this one around? The poison is ticking. He is going to go down, though, as we see the dive coming out in the bottom lane. Salty Yummy going to go down. That is going to be a double kill coming through for Scudzy as Fratal does finally arrive and gets that shut down. And across the map, it's going to be a 3-for-2 in favor of Critical Esports.
Oh, but Recycle is moving in. He is sitting in the tri-bush right now. I wonder whether or not they are going to go aggressive onto Fratal.
He's used his distort. He doesn't have an escape available. The Scatter of the Week is going to land. Are they going to go for this one? No. Doesn't want to commit to it. Had his flash available, he maybe could have gone for the Flash Ult Ignite combo. But deciding that the Summoner spell's not going to be worth wasting for that one.
Yeah, so all that action was happening all across the map. There was a gank in the top lane, which worked out very well for the side of Critical Esports. They do pick up first kill onto Keys. Looks like he's heading towards that Trinity Force build. Very interesting, but we'll discuss that a little bit later. Meanwhile, 3-man dive in the bottom lane. So, as I was talking about that they don't need, if you can't defend vision in the tri-brush, then necessarily you don't need it, and I was completely proven wrong there, because Lee Sin walked in through the tri-brush, knowing that they had no vision control in there, and it set them up perfectly for a very easy dive. Now, the dive didn't work out amazingly because Fratal moved very nicely into the bottom lane to help support the bottom lane, which overall enabled a 2-for-2 by picking up a kill onto Scudzy and the shutdown. So nice pickup of gold there for Fratal on that LeBlanc, and we'll see if he's able to use that to his advantage. But at the moment he's really struggling in the mid.
Fratal in a lot of trouble. The Ignite is going to go down, and Scudzy is here to try and finish this one off. He's going to get that with the Tempest and the Smite, and Fratal goes down, and Recycle is showing that this Syndra pick is not something to be smirked at.
Yeah, it was always considered a LeBlanc pick in the past. That might be one of the reasons why he decided to pick it, because every time you try to distort in, you can just scatter the weak back and deny that jump in from the LeBlanc. So, nice pickup. It has worked out. In the early game, we did think that it wasn't going to work out too well, especially from the pressure coming out from Chris, but we can see again, this is all thanks to Scudzy and his fantastic vision control, constantly invading the enemy jungle, denying experience and gold from the way from Chris, putting him as behind and preventing him from applying as much pressure as he would like to. So really impressive performance from Scudzy this game.
Yeah, I mean, Scudzy has been sort of a beacon of light for Gaming Emotion Black so far in this best of 3. 5-1-2 on that Lee Sin. Obviously, the last game on the Nidalee doing absolutely crazy numbers as well. And his farm as well was just... I couldn't even believe my eyes on his farm last game. So Scudzy certainly doing work for Gaming Emotion Black. And could this finally be the first dragon? People are starting to head towards it. Chris Senpai could have been caught out. He is going to get caught by the Sonic Wave. Then's the death sentence. That's going to be Recycle picking up an easy kill onto the enemy jungler. But it looks like Dragon isn't even on the cards right now. They're looking for more. They're trying to find the kills, getting that deep vision, and now maybe turning towards the Dragon. But could look like Yummy is going to be the focus target first before they go for that reptile in the Dragon Pit. But Pasha has been caught out. He's going to be slowed by the box. There's the kick, and that is going to be an easy kill for Scudzy. There's the death sentence, and I mean, it feels more like a death paragraph at this point as Pez easily locks them up, and that's going to guarantee them a kill onto Wing. I'm just going to say that's not even my pun. I stole that from Sona, so sorry, Sona, if you're watching, but we are going to see them finally going towards the first dragon of the game, and this is going to be an easy objective for them to pick up.
Yeah, that was really impressive. The fact that what I'm most impressed about is the ability for them to chain CC all of their abilities. I mean, when we do see Solo going aggressive in the top.
Yeah, Keys is going to be able to back away from this one as Mega Gnar happens. It just happens. That's going to be the Gnar ultimate though, and Keys actually gets taken out. Was not expecting the flash coming out from Soloy. Speaking of Keys, as you just saw on your screens, he used to be in Perilous Rift, which are already through. I mean, they placed sort of third, fourth. Obviously, it's a joint position in the end of the matchup, but he is going to be on this Gaming Emotion Black lineup now. So far, he's not really been that much of an impact this game. 0-2 on that Teemo, so not really as strong of a showing as we were hoping for him, but he has now finished off that Triforce, so should be able to do some work now with those auto attacks. And didn't go for that AP Teemo that we discussed.
Yeah, as he said, he's not really a fan of the AP Teemo, but it does look like he's going for a Trinity Force build, something that I've never really seen before on Teemo. I can definitely understand how it works. There's you get mobility from the Phage, which obviously you'll need from the consistent auto attacks that you're throwing out, on top of the speed boost active that you do get from Teemo's W. On top of that, the Sheen proc definitely works well with Teemo, as well as the attack speed that you get from the Zeal. So definitely a decent item on Teemo. I can understand why he's decided to do it, but I'm a little interested. Meanwhile, we do see a TP in the bot.
The teleport is going to come through from Sorloid. That's the Solar Flare onto 2. Only stuns Pez, though. A nice stealth coming out from Wing, and he's going to be able to dodge away from the collateral damage. It's going to be a 2v3 right here, as Wing takes the Lantern to safety. Sorloid looking to chase this one. He's about to go Mega Gnar as Pez gets the Flash Flay, and he distracts them away from his AD carry. Pez, the absolute hero, is going to sacrifice himself. And in the meantime, Reesicle and Scudzy have no sense of sort of safety here as they push in towards the second tier tower and pick up a kill onto Chris Senpai.
Yeah, that was really well played. You can see now, like, what happens is the moment that Solar Flare comes out, Wing immediately ultimates and tumbles out of the way. He goes invisible, forcing them to focus Pez, and that enables him to just pick up free damage onto Pasha. With the massive item advantage that he had, it was easy for him to pick up that kill. Meanwhile, that play was so good. He condemned and flashed at the same time, which knocked Sorloy away from the Lantern and enabled him to get out to safety. Obviously, Pez does lose his life in the meantime, which is very unfortunate, but he does sacrifice his life for the sake of Wing. Good guy support, really fantastically played, especially that was a 3-for-2. To come out for a 1-for-1 overall, very impressive performance by Wing. So good job from their bottom lane. Very impressive mechanics coming out from Wing of Vayne.
And trading 2-for-1 on towers just afterwards as well. So far, Gaming Emotion Black looking to be in a really commanding position, and Pasha is in a lot of trouble. Hasn't got his biceps out for this one, as he's going to get taken down by Scudzy. Reesicle easily going to be able to throw out enough damage to lower the health bar of Graves. And 0-5-1, Pasha really not having the game of his life right now.
No. Somewhat unfortunate game. Oh, Solar Flare in the mid!
Solar Flare indeed, as Yomi goes in. There's the Cocoon to finish it off, and Reesicle, I thought he was going to get away on the Thresh Express there. Pez trying to save his mid laner, but just not going to be able to shield that one through. And that is going to be a nice, easy counter kill in that mid lane as Reesicle goes down. But in the meantime, we see Wing just pushing away at this tier 1 bottom lane tower, and they're just going to trade that mid lane kill for an objective, which pretty much always is a good thing.
Yeah, so we see Pasha overextending, he gets punished, and then we see Reesicle doing the exact same thing. So very well played from both teams, but meanwhile we do see a tower going down for the side of Critical Esports. So that's going to be a 6,000 gold lead now in the favor of Gaming in Motion, looking much primed, ready to push towards taking this game home. Very impressive performance, much more improved from last week. We can see their pick and ban phase much better than it was before, and their performance overall. Scudzy definitely playing very, very well. Definitely MVP, or my MVP of the series so far.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that one, as Yummy is maybe looking for an engage, but honestly, I'm not sure this is a fight you want to go for. Scudzy with the sick moves there, dodging around his Keys. His stealth behind Sorloy. Not going to find the engage that he was looking for. I wanted Sorloy to commit to the tower, and was waiting for, obviously, Recycle to head up to that top lane as well, but they're not going to find the pick. Wing apparently has just reconnected. I didn't even notice that he had disconnected. There was no pause coming out, so obviously not too bothered as Scudzy gets stunned up by the Solar Flare, but he's going to take the Thresh Express, dodging away yet again. The collateral damage not connecting to its targets. The Death Sentence just falling shy there as Fractal, or Fratal, sorry, just getting away as the flash kick comes through. Chris Senpai having to repel away. Oh, flashes over the wall, actually. Might be able to get away with this one, but Wing looking to... Oh, rolls into the cocoon. Yummy trying to protect his jungler. He may well have done so, but he's going to be sacrificing his own life for it. Recycle going to finish that one off as the jungler did go down. Scudzy managed to chase that one through, and now Fratal trying to do what he can, but Recycle is very tanky on that Syndra, JK, but he's going to be able to dodge away from the damage at least. As Pasha gets caught by the Death Sentence. What a Death Sentence coming out from Pez there. Absolutely beautiful. That's going to force him away to his fountain, and while this is happening, this is a 4v5. Keys is pushing in the top lane.
Yeah, I mean... Wing!
Wing with the dodge, using his ultimate. Sorloy with a nice ultimate is going to pick up one, but Pez is going to be able to survive this one. The condemn against the wall. Sorloy is going to be going down. Wing picks up yet another kill, and in the meantime, Keys has taken that top lane tower, and it's a 1-for-1, and Wing is just so hard to deal with right now, dodging away from everything. Fratal is looking to make a change to that one, though, as he gets stunned up. He's going to get jumped on, and that is going to be a kill for Pasha.
Yeah, so Solar Flare.
Yummy going for the 1v1 right now. Doesn't connect the Zenith Blade, though, and he's going to have to back away.
So much action just happened there. We could see the one thing that I really want to highlight is while all the action was going on in the jungle, we saw that Yummy managed to land a really nice stun engage onto Recycle. That would have meant the death of Recycle, and it would have given Critical Esports a really nice back into the game. Oh, meanwhile the dragon does get taken.
Yeah, Scudzy was looking to maybe try and get a dragon steal, but Keys has arrived now as well. They're going for the 2v3. The kick is going to come through. Chris Senpai in a lot of trouble. Repels away. Is he going to be able to escape there? Keys should be able to chase that one through. And this 2v3 is going very well for In Motion as they pick up two. They're looking for Pasha as well. Gets the slowdown with the red buff. Can he finish this one off? Fratal has entered the fray, but Scudzy has a lot of MR. Not enough, though, as he goes down. Keys flashing forwards. Picks up the kill, and now he's looking for more. Look at the double dots ticking away on Fratal. He's going to get pushed away from this tower, and how do you even come back from this when they can comfortably 2v4 pretty much there?
Yeah, 20 minutes into the game, and all of a sudden it's kicked into action, just like last game. Initially we had fairly passive early start, but now we can see that In Motion really turning on the heat, really applying a lot of pressure. Loads of small skirmishes happening all over the map, and there's just too much action to be able to properly analyze. They need to give me a break. Meanwhile, another Death Sentence going out, stun from Syndra.
Oh, Senpai just narrowly dodging the stun there. Did get hit by the knockback, but the ball itself didn't actually connect to its target. Fratal jumping forwards, but can't even get the poke down. Just has to jump straight back again. Does not want to get caught by any of that CC.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that I want to mention is so far back now. Meanwhile, Chris again in the jungle.
Oh, Chris getting locked up. Can they connect anything else? He's going to be able to scuttle away on all 8 of his legs. Luckily, all of them still attached at this point. But very, very close to going down again. And I mean, that's been pretty much the story of this game. Critical Esports just trying to escape from each and every play that Gaming Emotion are forcing out. I mean, very, very reactionary play coming out from Critical Esports so far this game, and that's all they've been able to do because Gaming Emotion have just really had complete control of the map the entire game so far.
Yeah, but they're playing their comp like they need to, because I said in the early game that they're looking for these 2v2, 3v3 sort of skirmishes, and that's exactly what they've been doing. The early great vision control coming out from Scudzy enabled them to get picks in the enemy jungle, force these very small sort of skirmish fights that enabled them to snowball the lead into what they currently have. I mean, again, look, the superior vision control, you can see they've got 4 sitting in the enemy jungle now. They're trying to bait out the fact that they might be going to Baron, but Critical Esports aren't buying it. They're not taking this bait. They believe
they do have a pink ward here.
So they do have vision.
You're going to know that that's just, it's all a cunning ruse. And they're not going to go for that face check, but they are going to come down this middle lane. They're looking for the tower, but they may have just signed their own death warrants right now. As Scudzy doesn't quite connect that Sonic Wave. But Soloy taking a huge amount of damage from Wing. He's going to go into Mega Gnar. The Solar Flare doesn't connect, but the Gnar ultimate does onto 3. That's going to be Pez going down, but a nice Scatter the Weak is going to stun up 3 members. That's going to be Scudzy jumping forwards, picking up 1. Double kill comes through for Wing, and they're going to be cleaning house as the double kill comes through for Recycle again. We're going to bring up a replay of that one on your screens as a 5-man ace.
Yeah, you can see the Solar Flare message, which is really unfortunate, but massive ultimate coming out from Solar. He manages to lock up 3, but a really nice Scatter the Weak from Recycle stops the follow-up engage almost immediately. He manages to stun up so many of the targets that enables InMotion to reposition themselves, get into a state that enables them to start the fight. They quickly drop Soloy, which is their biggest frontline member, and the moment he's down, the rest is just the squishy backline. So really well played team fight. Very well played by Recycle to get that Scatter the Weak and enable this time. Meanwhile,
speaking of Recycle, he could be in a lot of trouble as we see Yuumi getting stunned up against the wall, and nice play by InMotion to protect their mid laner there. He's going to be able to get away. Look at the damage that they've traded back. Yuumi nearly going down, as well as Chris taking a huge chunk. But we did see a lot of damage coming out from Wing in those fights. The true damage from his Silver Bolts just melting Soloy's health bar, and even in that Mega Gnar form, just is nowhere near tanky enough to deal with it. He just barely has any armor, only the Ninja Tabi.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to bring up. The fact that his only armor is in the form of Ninja Tabi really restricts his resistances against Wing on that vein. He's just completely destroyed. He's basically just HP. That's all he is to Wing, and Wing...
when you've got % true damage.
Yeah, exactly. He's just going to rip through that almost immediately. So, I mean, their itemization is not the most ideal, and the fact that Chris is now building more ability power on that least when they're this far behind, I feel like he should be heading towards that tankier route. I feel like he needs to stop trying to carry and allow his carries to do that. Meanwhile, Hook lands on the Senpai.
It does indeed, and Chris Senpai just being caught out pretty regularly so far this game. A nice flash there, max range to get over, but the death sentence is going to come through. Keys, in the meantime, picks up a kill in the bottom lane against Pasha. And this is going to be Scudzy looking for more. He's looking to try and land a Sonic Wave. He's going to get caught up by the Ethereal Chains as Pez nearly connects that death sentence. Wing looking for more. He's not going to find it though. His ultimate did just time out. Guess that was the final second of the final hour. Pez not quite managing to connect that death sentence, but in the meantime, Keys is just in this bottom lane. He's pushing these minions towards the Nexus as the Solar Flare is going to come through. Soloy jumping forwards. He is going to be able to stun up Wing, who's going to go down. There's the shutdown. Soloy looking for more. They've got no true damage now. And this is going to mean that InMotion can't continue, or can they, as he goes underneath the tower. Scudzy narrowly escaping that one as Keys is going to be able to pick up a tower. He's going to be focused down here, though, and he's going to be taken down. As we see Fratal picking that one up and everybody getting an assist. There's the death sentence onto Soloy though. The damage is not going to be there though as Scudzy goes so deep for this one. Chris Senpai kicks back. Recycle finishing that one off. That's going to be the end of the Spider. Recycle playing Exterminator. The death sentence just going to connect to a minion instead though as Yuumi is going to be falling. There's the Sonic Wave and Scudzy picking up yet another kill. 12, 2, and 11 on that Lee Sin. Insane numbers coming out from Scudzy, and the Thresh Express is going to bring Recycle to safety. And despite the numbers advantage, InMotion just seem unstoppable.
Yeah, with the massive gold lead that they have available to them, it's absolutely crazy. I mean, we saw initially in the middle lane that a beautiful Solar Flare landing onto Wing puts them in a prime position to lock down that vein, quickly shut him out of the fight and take him out. Really nice play from them. But meanwhile in the bottom lane, Keys constantly applying pressure, manages to take an inhibitor tower, which enables them to, you know, snowball their leading them further. So even though Wing is dying in the mid, they're still picking up objectives, which is pretty much what they've been doing this entire game. So very well played. And even with the numbers advantage, as you said, being low, the gold lead that they have, the items available on the side of InMotion enables them to win these skirmishes, win these 3 versus 4 fights because of how far ahead they are. So really well played from the side of InMotion. Meanwhile, Keys might be caught out.
He certainly has been caught out, but he's going to be able to zoom away from that one with that move quick on the Teemo, and he has finished his Hurricane. So going for that AD Teemo build that we spoke about earlier, and the amount of damage he's going to be able to put across the enemy team with that Triforce, with the Frozen Mallet, and then the Hurricane to spread that onto multiple targets. He's going to be melting health bars, but the Baron has been started off. There is a ward there. They know that this is going on. Crit should be able to respond to this one, but in all honesty, I don't think this is something that they could contest anyway, and that's going to be going down for Gaming InMotion.
No, they're too far behind really to be able to contest that. Baron they are. Especially the fact that Fratal wasn't even near. He had to just base because he'd been checked out. And it's really unfortunate because Fratal could be that avenue back in, getting picks on the LeBlanc, but thanks to the itemization, he just doesn't have the damage required. And he's so far behind in gold. He's 100 CS behind that Syndra that he just doesn't have the damage to one-shot anyone, really. So I don't really see at this point how they're going to prevent this siege from happening.
No, and with this going on in the... Actually, we don't have time to talk as Pasha gets annihilated. That's going to be Soloy being the focus target. He's doing so much damage despite being attacked, and he doesn't land the Gnar onto anyone as Emotion Wing gets caught up. He's going to be able to stealth away from it, though, and picks up a double kill for Scudzy. And now they're pushing in onto Chris Senpai. That's going to be their clean 5-man ace, and that is going to be the Nexus falling. And in motion, Black looking incredibly strong in this matchup.
Yeah, definitely an impressive performance. Again, we saw a very even early game, just as the same as last game. And especially with the pressure coming out from Chris, I definitely thought that they had a chance in. But the moment that Scudzy picked up a slight lead, he snowballed it. He went straight back into the enemy jungle. He got that deep vision. He knew where Chris was.